Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Data Science, AI, and Cloud Sunday. How's everyone doing? My name is Pablo. I am a data scientist. I lead the data science community at an innovation hub here in Kaduna, Nigeria, and we're beaming this straight up to the world. Right. I am also a Google developer expert for data and cloud. Welcome. Right. So I think it's only important that I share what the Data Science Sunday is all about, or the Data Science AI and Cloud Sunday is about, and give a brief history of what it's about. Approximately 151 episodes ago, we started the Data Science Sunday, and the whole idea for the Data Science Sunday was to get anyone learning data science from scratch to pick up data science skills using community as a driver. And I think we got to episode 152, and I figured it was time to evolve the Data Science Sunday based on the times. So what we typically did was learn data science on our local machines using the Jupyter Notebook. But now we've evolved to using cloud and AI services to learn data science. So that's why it's called the Data Science AI Cloud Sunday. Right. This session is powered by a Collab Innovation Hub. And Collab Innovation Hub is one of the first innovation hubs in Kaduna, Nigeria. And as a physical hub, we encourage building tech skills using community as a driver, community as a pillar, while we provided all the infrastructure like internet power and everything that made it easy for folks to come together and learn. And so as we proceeded, we figured it was ideal to now push this community online. And so to that end, since I led the data science community, I figured it would be ideal to reach out to the world. And so that's why we had the Data Science Sunday. And now it's the Data Science AI and Cloud Sunday. It is for everyone. If you are getting started, a beginner, if you're an enthusiast, if you're a professional, and you need a community to keep going and keep learning and keep touching base, like we say around here, just to touch grass consistently. This is a community, a safe space to learn, a safe space to contribute, and we do this every Sunday from 6 p.m. West African time to 8 p.m. West African time. All right, so welcome everybody. So today is interesting. Today we're going to be, for the past 4 sessions or 5, we have been learning about using the Google Cloud and Google Cloud services, both data and AI, using labs. Today we're going to go straight in and have a hands-on session using the Google Cloud platform. And we're going to be using the Google Cloud Console to do that. And so a lot of things are going to be new for some people. For other people, it might be normal, but please feel free to engage, ask questions and all. Also, if you're here for the first time for the Data Science AI Cloud Sunday, please feel free to let us know. We encourage interactions, questions and all. And if you feel there's a question you need to ask, or you need to introduce yourself, tell us what you're doing, feel free to raise your hands like this, and I'll let you speak. Right. Also, you can make use of the in-call message area, just like someone has asked a question, right? And you can just say hi. You can go on to share your thoughts, your challenges, your blockers, or any inquiries you need to make, just to clear the air or contribute to the session. Also, because we're super huge on consistency, fortunately we've been doing this. I think this should be episode 158 or 159, but this is basically the 48 or 47, either episode 48, so of the year. We always encourage folks to talk about what they're learning, what challenges they're having. If you feel the form to get in here, you're encouraged to sign up to Google Skill so that you could take advantage of and then learn a bunch of things. Right. So if you have questions, please feel free to share. But what we're going to do, we're going to get started as quick as possible. Now, while we're at it, I'm going to share a few links so that these links are resources, for lack of a better term, resources. I'm going to share the Google Skill, the Google Skill. It's where you learn cloud skills using labs and all. So I'm going to share that link. So I'll share it in the in-call message here. So if you haven't created an account, please feel free to create an account. And please, when you create an account, you would get to, you'll be asked. So I'll share my screen while I'm at it so that you would have a sense of what I'm talking about. So this is what the Google Skill looks like. Right, so this is mine. So you can see this is what it looks like. It has a bunch of things from catalogs to parts for you to learn different Google skills, cloud skills. So this is what I would encourage you to sign up. The link is in the in-call message area. So please feel free to start up with that. Please, when you create this account, you'll be encouraged to join the innovators group, the Google Cloud Innovators community. Please feel free to join. You get 35 credits every month, and these credits will help you, engage in labs and some courses, courses and parts. Right. What else am I going to share? Okay, so this is streamed live. Again, for anyone coming in at this point, this session is streamed live. So that means folks outside this call will be watching, right? So it's important that you know this. It's important because we have this open data policy where we let everybody know that they are being watched by some other people all around the world. So please, it's important we share. Now, for some of you that may have missed other sessions, you can check out the live sessions on my YouTube channel, which is Data Science, AI, and Cloud with Pablo. So please check it out. I'll encourage you to engage with some of the sessions you see, so that the algorithm, recommends it to a larger audience, folks who are learning stuff. And yeah. And if you think it's something that you want to check out from time to time, you can also subscribe. And if you feel you have blockers or challenges, you have questions, please drop a comment and drop a comment, and I'll definitely be there to help out. Or you can also share with folks who are also in their data science journey and trying to build on that. We also have a community. The community is called the Data Weekend. So I'll share links to that. Please, it's not mandatory. Just feel free to join. It's a community of learners, enthusiasts, professionals. It has the WhatsApp group link and the Telegram group link. So feel free to join any of them. The WhatsApp is a lot. It's the one that is a lot active. The Telegram seems just gets updates. So the Telegram is more or less like a bulletin board, so to speak. Right. All right, so that's that. So we're about to get started. Anyone with questions? Do you have questions? We get started as soon as possible. All right, so the first thing I want to ask is how many of you have a GCP account, a Google Cloud Platform account? And if you do, please just raise your hands. Let me know. How many of you have a GCP account? All right. Shout out to Taiwo. All right, great. So today's session, what we're going to be doing is tagged. We're going to be doing a hands-on, a very mini project. That's what we're going to be doing, and it's going to be. We're going to use a bunch of things from the Google Cloud storage, which are Google Cloud services and products, to Google Cloud Functions, and we're going to use it to create to do data quality checks on any data we use. So typically, as a data scientist, when you get data, one of the first things you want to do is just look up the data, find out what the data is about. So I just call this the data quality check. That's what we're going to learn, and we're going to do this on the Google Cloud Console. Right. Formerly, we would have used one of this, but I figured it's ideal for us to jump in on it. Right. So I'll get started. So two things I'm going to do, and I'll let you guys know. I have two accounts. I've got my what I will call my official cloud account, my Google Cloud account, and I also have a learning account. In the learning account, I have access. I created it recently, and I have access to $300 worth of credit. And so I'll encourage anyone to jump in on it and create one. Now, when you create one, and you have to activate using your card, right? You would not be charged. For some card providers, they would want to confirm that your card works, and you might be charged, give or take, maybe $1 or $1.30 or $1.20, and that will be returned to your account when it's confirmed that your card works, right? So here is what it looks like. This is console. Yes, so this is it. So this is what the Google Cloud platform looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and just drop it in the in-call message area for folks who haven't, who don't, just to get started with it. So I'll also update the comments with this for the live session, so you're going to see this there. So this is what it looks like, right? And there Google Cloud, the Google Cloud services, products and services are all here, so you can see all of them here, and we're going to be working with them soon. Next, I am going to also open an incognito window. Right, I'm going to do the same, and then I'll use the account I have. I'll use the account I have here. This is another account I have, so I'm going to be using this as a test. So that's what we're going to be doing, working with. This is what it is. Right, so please feel free to create an account. What we're going to be doing will mean a lot of things. So I'm going to be doing a lot of explanation as I go, right? And yeah. So typically, I like, again, like I always tell everybody, I like to have a dark screen. So I'm just going to move this to a dark screen. Right, so I just go to this. So you see that once I have this set up, then you see that it's just about the same thing, right? So this account has been here. I think I opened this account in 2019. But this is very recent, and you can see. Let me get my annotator. You can see that I have a $300 credit, right? So this is this. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to get started with today's session, right? I already have the session. What we're going to do is put out on one of my screens, so you would notice that I'll always look up and try to make use of that screen. And then please feel free to do a walkthrough with me if you can, so you could ask questions and all. Right. Again, I'll encourage you to get started, and you would have this. You can see I have access to this for the next 90 days. Right. That's when the trial will end. And once the trial ends, you would have a chance to activate your full account. And again, your account, your card will not be charged. Your credit or your debit card won't be charged until you'll be charged monthly, right? And that's based on what you're using, because it's more or less like a pay-as-you-go service, right? So so let's get to it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So what we're going to do today, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I logged in using the this incognito mode, and I didn't create. I don't know if it was the same procedure like the skills account where you have to create a different account. So I just use my regular Gmail account, Google account. Is it right?
Yes, yeah, it works. It works. And if it's your first time, you should see something here. You should see this.
Okay, free trial. Okay,
Yes.
yes. Okay, at the top they said start your free trial with 200 credit. Don't worry, you will be charged if you want to learn more.
Yeah, you will need to use the card to activate that.
Okay. That the start free.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a very common data science task, which involves checking a file, a CSV file. So typically, if you got yourself like a CSV file or a data set, what you would typically do as a data scientist or anybody learning data science would be to jump on your Jupyter notebook, check the data, and do that. Now, what we're going to do is the cloud will do it for you. So that's what we're going to do today. Right. So what this is called, let me just call this the automated quality data quality checker. So that's what today's session is about. So I'll just put it in here. That's what we're going to be doing. Right. Now, what I want to do, because I have done this before, I'm sort of like thinking to myself, maybe I should use another account to do it. So you guys can see maybe some of the things that will pop up. Like there will be some things like some activation. So maybe I'll try it with this account. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is this section is going to create a bunch of stuff for us. We're going to create something called an event-driven. We're going to take advantage of event-driven systems, right? Which is a core concept of using a cloud infrastructure, right? So a bunch of things that we're going to be using. We're going to be using the Google Cloud Storage, or we're going to be using Cloud Functions. And yeah, we're going to be using Cloud Functions. And so before we get started, let me talk about what we're going to do with it. So here are a bunch of things that we're going to be working on today. We are going to be using the cloud storage, the Google Cloud Storage. and Google Cloud Storage stores our files as objects. And the Google Cloud Storage is really an interesting thing. We're going to look at it from here. This is the Google Cloud Storage. Right, we're going to use this. And it's going to be like a landing page for what we're going to be doing, all the files we're going to be storing. And really interesting, the Google Cloud Storage is global. So, so once you upload files to it, you can scale it. It scales automatically and stuff. So again, it's part of the reason why you can taking your data science skill, your data science skill, and using it in the cloud sort of scales everything and makes it pretty easy for you. We're going to use something called, we're also going to leverage on something called Event Arc. It's a routing service. And yeah, so we're going to, I use this something called Publisher and Subscriber to do a bunch of things, right? So whenever maybe a CSV file hits our storage, it will push for a function to work. We are also going to use a cloud function. It's a serverless compute resources that allows us to run snippets of code without having to buy a server, right? So it's like a processor, and it does a bunch of stuff. And then there's going to be a lot of things happening in the back end, like Cloud Build, which is going to have our sort of like our CI/CD. Our integration and deployment. So we're going to have that. We're also going to have cloud login, which is going to capture all our activities. And then finally, we are going to have like something called a security guard, which will help us, track all our activities and check if our roles are, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. We have to check if the roles gives us access to certain permissions to do what we want to do. So these are the things we're going to use today. And for today, I'm going to be using I'm going to be using the G Cloud. Look at it over here. We're going to be using Cloud Shell. So we're going to be working in using the CLI, the command line interface. That's what we're going to be using. So that's what we're going to do. And for that, to do that, I will have to write a lot of bash commands and all. So that's what we're going to do, right? So we're going to get started. And please work with me as I do this. I'm going to have some errors. If some errors come up and it's challenging, I'll have to find a way to solve it. I might have to also typically use Google Gemini to help me. If the errors are something I'm familiar with, I'll solve it and explain the rest of it, the walkthrough for you guys. So that's basically what we'll be doing with this. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this. I'm going to activate the Cloud Shell. So the Cloud Shell, has will give us access to Google APIs and resources, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have it authorized. Yep. So now also, I think it's important I also let you guys know. If I'm doing this, because I don't have the credits that this one has, I am definitely going to be using, I may be charged. So I have a billing account. So let me just minimize this guy. There's a billing account, and that's what I'll be using. And so I would encourage you to start off with this, this makes it a lot easier to get this done. So you see, I'm going to be billed, right, and all. And so yes, so this is what I'm going to do. If I come over here to manage my billing accounts, you see if I click it over here, you'll see that I'll have an account. So you can see this, I have an account over here, right? So this is the account I have working with and all, right? So you can see I can disable, I can change, I can lock it. Yeah. So I just figured it is important I share that part. Right. So let's get back to the main stuff and then restore this. Let me make this a lot bigger for us to get started. All right, so the first thing I want to do is there are two things I'm going to be working with. I already have a file. Let me see. I already have a file. Let me see if I already have a file existing. Look at them. You can see this files here. This one, the requirements.txt, and I have the main.py file. I'll open this just to show you what is in it. I'm going to use VS Code to open that. And you'll see what's in that file. And so that's typically what we're going to be working with as we proceed. So once that comes up, we'll see what's in the file. Right. So we're going to be using those two. Now, what would happen is once we get started, it's a lot of stuff is going to be unpacked. So what we have in here is so what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be doing a bunch of things. We're going to be doing three things. The first thing is we are going to have we're going to create a folder. We're going to have a folder named data quality function, and it's going to have two files inside of it, right? It's going to have two files inside of it. That's no, so create our cloud storage. And once we create our cloud, so first off, we're going to storage, we'll give it a name, and then, and set that up. Then we will now go on to make use of our code. We have this, what we have over here is basically our logic that would kickstart a cloud event and sort of check our bucket's name, check our file, and process the data we have, and then go on to connect to the storage. It's going to read it and then confirm if you see it will perform this data science logic. It's going to count the rows. Then if the rows are equal to 0, it will tell us that the file is empty. If there's an error, it will tell us it couldn't process, and it lets us know what kind of error that is. So this is what we're going to do. The other thing we have going on is we would have our requirements.txt file over here. Now, the requirement.txt file has some files inside. We're going to be is going to run all this for us to work with. So first off, the Google Cloud Storage, pandas, and functions that we're going to be working with. So it's going to have all that in it. So these are the requirements we need to work with. So that's what we have. So we're going to now get started here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a Google Cloud storage. And that's where we're going to store the file we're going to be using. So that's what I'll do. First thing, I will come over here and go to storage, and I'll go to buckets. I'll minimize this so you can see that this is the Google Cloud storage. Okay. Now with this, there are a bunch of things I remember I can do this, I can create this using the CLI, but I haven't gotten to that point where I'm going to use the CLI, but I'm going to use the CLI at a point. And yeah, and once we do that, we'll do a bunch of things. Now, I need you guys to pay attention to some of the things I will do. So first things first, I will create a bucket, and the bucket is I'm going to give it a unique name. So it's always ideal to give a bucket a unique name because it's global. So it's going to search if this bucket if someone else has that unique name. So I'm going to call this, and again, it has there are some naming guidelines. You're not to use a bunch of things like maybe Google name similar to Google or has some of that nature. And if the bucket has been used, if the bucket name has been used, you might have an error in future. So which means you have to create another bucket name. So let me call this Pablo data landing zone. Yes, this one we're going to call it. Hopefully this works. Right. I will choose where. So here's the interesting part, right? I'll need to choose where, based on the resources or where I need to get in terms of availability and all. I will choose. I don't want to do a multi-region. I'll go to region. So it's the lowest latency within a single region. I'll go for this. And then, so there are so many. You can see there are different regions based on the latency I want to work with. So you can see all the regions we have here. We have the Middle East. Did I see Africa? Yeah, so there's Africa. Whoa, look at that, Africa, Johannesburg. But yeah, so typically, let me just for us to get started with this, let me just use US Central 1, right? But again, I mean, normal level, I'll try to use the lowest latency, use maybe Johannesburg, right? Then continue. I'm just going to leave out. This is going to be. I'm just going to use this. This is for short-term storage and frequently accessed data. So this is what I'm going to use, right? So that's the data, the class I'm going to use. I think others, I'm just going to, yeah. Now, another interesting part is there is a location pricing. You can see there's a pricing, which means you see, look at storage rates depending on the storage class of your data and the location of your bucket. And so there's a pricing. If I click on this, it's going to take me to another page, which is documentation for pricing, right? So you can see that with different locations, for instance, I'm using US Central 1, right? And this is the data storage I'm using. So if I click on this and I choose Johannesburg, South Africa, you see that they have different pricing. For the standard, I'm going to be using for this, I'm going to be using this. If I used for the US Central 1, where is that? US Central 1. I could have sworn I saw it right now. Jakarta, Sydney, London. Yes. So you can see US Central 1. You can see they have different pricing. If I'm going to be using the dual region, and you can see they have hourly rates and it's got monthly rates. You can see what the monthly rate is going to look like, right? Right. So you can see what you're going. This is what I'll be charged if I was going to be using it. So you can see that different rates for which we use. So there's a documentation for it. It's ideal to always read that. So you can see for this is what I'm going to be paying per month, depending on how I'm going to make it. There's also some that estimates the cost, right? So I think I'll just basically go on and create this bucket. So, right. It says enforce public access prevention on this bucket. So I'm going to use that as default, right? So you see the bucket has been created. So you can see, yep, so this is a bucket. It's empty, there's nothing inside of it, right? So we've done that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're supposed to create our requirements.txt. And we're also, we're going to do that. We're also going to have created that, which I showed you guys, and then also the functions that I'm going to run, right? Pretty normal. I've also created that, which is the function, and I just showed you guys the other one that I created. So this, we have all this. So now the next part is the deployment part. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, for this level, for this, I'm going to use the CLI. So what I'm going to do, I've already opened this and I'm going to just restore this again. So this is the CLI, right? This is a terminal. And I'm going to do a bunch of things in the terminal, which is I'm going to create, first things first is I'm going to create a folder. Excuse me. I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call this maybe folder data quality function. Let me just create this folder here. So to do that, I'll say make there, and I'll call this data quality dash function. Yes. Right. So if I ls, so you can see that I have that data quality function already existing. Right. Again, remember the Cloud Shell, which is this, gives us access to a bunch of things. Right. So we have resources API access, and it has 5 gig, data, 5 gig storage, and which lets us do a bunch of things. We can do a lot with it. Now I'm using the CLI because and typically you can also use the GUI, so which makes it pretty easy, right? But I want to use this because for some weird reason I want to emphasize needing to type bash commands and all. Somewhere in the industry, it sort of feels like if you are really good at using the CLIs, it sort of like feels like you're top notch. So now I've created a folder. All right, go ahead. Yes, command line interface. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cd, which is change directory into the data quality function. So if I use pwd, you can see I'm already in this space. So I am there now. Right. Now I'm going to now run bash command, and the bash command, we're going to do a bunch of things. Now, this bash command is first off, we're going to create a bunch of things. We are going to, I have this already copied, so I'll just break it down for you guys. So here. So first thing, we're going to use the gcloud command function to deploy. We're going to call our function the data quality checker. So this is our cloud function. Then we are just a bit so I could break down everything. So Google has a cloud. So this is the cloud function itself, which is called Gen 2. Which is the newest standard that's it builds on top of the Cloud Run containers we're going to use. The runtime is going to be on Python 3.10. Right, so this is it. The region we chose, which is this, is the US Central 1. It's the same. You can see that that's the region we chose for a storage class. So that's what the location of sort of like our data center. That's what it's like. Then the source of our information is this. So whenever you have this dot sign, it's basically telling you that we're going to be using wherever we're at, which is at this folder here, at this directory in this shell. That's what we're going to be using, right? So what else? Then there's going to be the entry point. So this is going to be our entry point for our data Now, if you look over here, the function we're going to have is validate underscore CSV, so which is our entry point for the function we're working with. Then we now have the triggers. The triggers typically just say, look, it only wakes up whenever, there is, something jumps into our storage, right? So it just basically comes to life. And then, of course, there's going to also be a trigger. So look at the trigger comes up whenever this comes to life in our cloud storage object, and especially when it references the storage bucket that we created. So this is what we are going to do. Now, when I run this, I expect to have some errors. If I don't, then that's fine, right? So here we go. So now you can see, so let me make this, I don't know, can you guys see the screen clearly? Let me know if you can. Can you see what's on my screen? If you can, just thumbs up. All right, good. Now, the first thing it says is for us to make use of this, a lot of things are not enabled. So the Cloud Function API is not enabled. So for this project, and you can see this is this project here is not. So would love to enable and retry. So yes, I'm going to say yes to that. I'm going to put a Y, then it starts to enable. So it has enabled that. So we now have an error. It says there's an invalid source. So so now there is a problem. It says there's an invalid source of the directory. It does not have a file main.py, which is required for us to use this guy. So what do we do, right? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, then I'll upload it, right? I'm going to upload it, and I'm going to have this uploaded, but I want it to come over here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here and find, yes, I'm going to put it the data quality function folder. So I'm going to upload this here. Right, upload. I want it to be here, so I'm going to put it in here. Then I will choose the files I'm looking for. So these files are here, so I'm going to find them. So two of the files I'm going to use are the main, this is this, and this. So I'll run them, and it's going to be uploaded. So you see, these are the files that are going to be uploaded. So which means if I come over here and I say ls, it's going to list them, and you see both of them are here. And you can see over here, it told us we had this error because it could not source those files, right? And it was wondering if this was the right directory. So again, I'm going to run this again. And let's see. So we've encountered our first error, right? So now we have our APIs. We need to enable our APIs. I say yes. And so we start to see that. All right. So again, you can see some services have to be enabled. So we need to enable a cloud build API. So now you see all these APIs we are enabling makes it possible for us to do a lot of things, because the Google Cloud Platform is basically, it's more like an API as a service. So there's a lot of things, there are services in there. So I'm going to agree to this. And it's going to enable that service. Now, guys, again, I want to say stuff. If you have an error then you may have certain errors, but please, if you're running this and you have an error, just take a screenshot and drop it in the channel, and and we can talk about those errors. Right. So now we have something called the event arc. So the event arc is sort of like monitoring all the activities we have. So we have to enable that. So again, yes. Right, so it's enabling that. It's been successful. All right. So what did he say? So he says enabling service operation, response error, validation failed for the trigger project. Right. Permission denied while trying to use the event act. If you recently started to use the event, it might take a few minutes. Right. Verify if it may take a few minutes for all necessary permissions to propagate. So it should have propagated. So let me see. So let me see. It may take a few minutes for all necessary permissions to be propagated. Right. So I think this is okay. I don't think I should have any other issues. Error, cloud function error, validation. So, hmm. Let me see. I'm trying to be sure if everything is okay. This I shouldn't have a problem. This should already work, right? Yeah. So this should already work. So permission denied while using this. Okay, let me try this again. And this time it should come up because every other thing has been propagated. And if I'm having this error, I probably have to now figure out how to solve for this error. Right. So you can see that it's deploying. Yep. All right. So you can see that all this is coming in place. All right, go ahead, Chino.
Yes, I saw from what it wrote down. You read it. It said it may take a few minutes before all access permission are propagated. I think that's why the delay came.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks. So you can see that the build is in process, right? So it's preparing the function, it's deploying the function. And so it's typically what's going to happen is it will deploy all this function and get us started. So these are the bunch of things that are happening here. So this is what would happen. So now, while this is going on, the whole idea of this whole project is to this very tiny hands-on session is so that we can see some of the things we can do, right? While we're scaling our data science workflows, right? So that's basically what it is. And once this happens, the deployment will start, and it will do a bunch of things. So you can see from here, you can see all the services are being deployed. It's building in progress, right? And it's telling you for all this that is being built, right? So it's creating a cloud run service that's going to whenever we do anything, it's just going to, you know, run it will trigger the service to run on our behalf, on our behest. So yeah. So yeah, so again, this is generally the idea, the whole reason why you know, I figured it would be important for us to leverage on cloud services while we're learning data science, right? Because if you're learning data science and you are, you know, you're doing it on your local machine, you're doing it on-prem, the question is you need a lot of things to happen. You need to, you know, you need to have access to data, you need to you know, run some services that would need to scale as quick as possible. Also, you're using really tiny toy data sets. So what if you need data sets that are, you know, petabytes data? What are you going to do? All right, so we have an error. What did the error say? The error says trigger failed. The cloud storage service account for your bucket is unable to publish to PubSub topics. Why? It requires a PubSub service. It requires a PubSub service. It requires a permission. It requires a specific permission. All right. So now, again, these are some of the errors you might encounter, and these are the things that would, you know, typically make you a sound data scientist and a cloud engineer at the same time. So I think we have to solve for this problem, right? We have to solve for this problem, and yeah. So to solve for this problem, right? So what this is saying is we need a publishing license. So to use this, it requires a PubSub publisher, right? And in the IAM role in the specific project, we need to have that. So our permission has been denied on that aspect. So we need that. So what are we going to do? Right. So what it means is the function, sort of like the robot that lets us connect to cloud storage, needs a middleman, which is this event arc over here. Is this event arc, right? And for anytime any file we want, whenever it lands into our Google Cloud Storage bucket, it will publish and say, hey, a file has arrived, right? Now, the error we have says that this robot that is supposed to do this role does not have the rights to do that. So we need to basically give it access to do that. So that's why if you're going to be taking like an associate cloud engineering certification, one major aspect you have to learn is access management, right? Identity access management is a huge aspect of what we'll have to do. Now, the first thing we want to do is we need to solve for this. To solve for this, let me make this really big. So to solve for this, we will get our project number. So which is the first thing. So I'd already done this before. So if I had used this account, I wouldn't have gotten this error. So that's why I'll whatever I'm going to do, I'll run it here. This is like my test phase and my test spot. Then I can now run it on my own here. So I know that some of these things will pop up so that we can see what real life looks like. So right now we're typically data scientists and cloud engineers at the same time, right? And look up that resume for anyone who is a data scientist and a cloud engineer at the same time. It's on-demand skill, especially if you know how to use the Google Cloud, ecosystem, the GCP platform, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get our project. That's the first thing I'll do. I'll get our project number. So let me have this. Let me bring this out. We're going to have our project number. What it's going to do is going to generate our project number for us. So this is what happens. So this is it here. So it's going to get a unique ID for our project, right? So this is the first thing. So when we run that, it gets us there. So you can see over here, we've gotten a unique and our project number. So let us know. So what we basically did was use a G-Cloud command to get the value for our project and give us the project number here. Next, we are going to construct an address for the hidden robot that does what it does, right? So again, just so you guys know, whenever I encounter this problem, what I just did was I just went on Gemini and then just stated all these errors and just say, look, this is what this is the problem I'm having. How do I solve this problem? Which makes it pretty easy. So, and also the next thing is to construct an email address for so it's going to be on our service account. So this is it. This is next. Right. So with this, if you look over here, it says construct the email address for the hidden storage robot. And so what we're going to do is going to give it a storage service account, right? Which would make it so this is going to be added to our service account, which sort of like gives us the leverage to do what we want to do, right? And so we'll run that. So that has happened. Now we're now going to give this robot that is behind the scene the rights. So we're going to give it the service account and we're going to give it a role and says, you're going to do this role. You're going to run this role for us, right? So we're going to give it the permission. So we're going to, and at the end, it's going to now, we're going to give it this. So this is what we're going to do. So over here, so you see, we're going to give the robot the permission to publish messages. So we're going to now add this to our IAM policy, which is our Identity Access Management Policy binding. And we're going to say it's going to be a member in the service account, and it's going to have a storage service account role permission, and it's going to be able to publish for us, right? So what's it going to do when it's done? It's going to say permission granted and all that. So we run this. So it's going to activate this first guy, and you can see, right, that this is giving us permission, but it's going to be propagating at the background. So we're just going to give it a minute or two, right, for that to happen. So once that is done, then we can typically have that going on. So that's what we have done. So I'll just wait a little bit, and then once that has propagated, then we can now go on to perform to run our deployment. Is it our deployment we're supposed to run? Let me see. Let's see what we're supposed to run. So we have created our storage. We have uploaded our logic and our requirements, and now we're doing the deployment. So let me try this. So let me see if this runs again. Yes. So I'll run this again. So let's see. It should have propagated at this point. So yeah. So again, the build starts. Now, guys, while this is happening, right? Again, I think it's one of the reasons why I should go back to this spot, right? A lot of these techniques and all this we need are in our catalogs here. We have a lot of some of these things we can learn, right? We can learn how to use a bunch of all this, or we can go and pick up a part. And as part of one of the parts we can pick up, we can, there's a, let me see, I have to find it. I'll find it and I'll share where you can, excuse me. Let me see. I think it should be one of the parts I am on, or if I have concluded. Let me see if I view some of my activities. So, yeah, I think I have completed that, but I'm going to share some of the things I'm doing. So, but again, what it makes it easy for you to, learn a bunch of things, right? Learn how to use the cloud and all. So that's why I think it's good for you to have the Google skills going on. Yeah, so this is updating our services and all. Yes, it is creating the trigger for our events. Yep, I think we're good. So you see that? I think we are good. So it has access. And so you can now see that we now have our data quality checker and it's on and it's what is active. Look at that. You can see over here, it says it's active. So now that we have done this, so we have to test what we have done, right? So what do? Now to test what we have done, let us go over now to this space. So you can see over here, this is our bucket, it's ready, and nothing is in here. So let me assume that I'm a data scientist. I have now gotten this large data set. Maybe I just gotten this very small data set. And this small data set means I need to verify this data set. Now, it's just going to be a very, very simple verification process, right? Right. So I'm going to verify this stuff. And so, and this verification can be very elaborate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a file, a CSV file. The CSV file is in my local drive. Let me see. Which CSV file will I look for? Let me look for a random CSV file. Okay, let me go. Some of the CSV file I use for my old school class. Let me see if I have one. Okay, Austin bike share. Right, so I'll upload this. So it's now uploading this file. So you can see over here, the upload is complete. So we dismiss, and so this is here. So we see that we now have this. It's just been uploaded, right? Now, the next thing I'm going to do, so now that it has uploaded this, what would happen? Some things, so all the stuff that we had over here, let me dismiss this. All what we had over here is now going to happen. So what's going to happen is an event is going to kick off. So you see, there's going to be an event associated with this. So you see that this is an event trigger that's going to be associated with this. And if anything lands inside Pablo data landing zone, is going to kick off. It's an event, driven activity, and it's going to go ahead and find out what's going on there, right? And so that's what's going to happen. So how do we know that this has happened? So we're going to go to the cloud function. So if I come over here and I type cloud, cloud functions, right? I'll click on the cloud function, so I'll run this. So this should take us to the cloud function, right? Now you can see that in the cloud function here, I have, you can see this is service. Yes, so you see we have the data quality checker. This was the service we created very earlier on. In case, just so you know, we created this very earlier on. When we run this here, the G Cloud function deploy data quality checker. This was it. This is what we created. Now you can see that. Now in here, if I click on this, it's going to take me to the activities that are here. Now you can see that these are the logs, right? These are the logs, and inside these logs, I'm supposed to see what has happened, right? So I go to the logs and I click on it. And I just wait for a bit. And some activities would have happened in these logs as soon as I put on yes. So you can see that just about 7:58, right? Cloud Run, there was data quality checker was set up. You can see that because we had to do a bunch of things. Then as soon as, you know, we had any activity, right? You can see it's here, right? And the instance, what time was it? 7:19, should be around here. You can see that something happened, right? At this point, you can see over here that something happened. There was sort of like a probe, right? And a worker went to do stuff here. You can see that went to do stuff immediately, right? Yes.
Okay, I think it's at the top where you find starting new instance.
No, I think yeah, I know. I just trying. Okay. So I think this is where some of the activities, yeah, happen.
Yes. You jump to starting new instance. That's yes, that's it's 1903.
Yeah, was that when I uploaded it? I think here. So instance started due to traffic revision and all that. I think these were part of when I was trying to get them all started, right? Then, but but if you look at the final part over here, you will see that, you know, this was kickstarted. The quality data checker was kickstarted, right? And then it checked, this landed in here. The Austin bike strip data landed here, right? It went in here and it got this. And then it went on to do a file check, right? And it says the file contains 50,000 rows. And basically it does contain 50,000 rows, right? So this is just basically you know, a very simple hands-on activity if you are a data scientist and you are receiving data. And here you don't have to. This is just simple. We can do a lot of things. I could read this code can be rewritten, not just to check, not just to read maybe how many rows, right? It could be rewritten because you see what it does is that it reads it into a CSV file, and then it does a row count, right? It could be rewritten, and what we could do is we could get a row count, we could get the shape, we could get missing values, we could get a bunch of things, right? And we could get a lot of stuff. And all these are all data pre-processing or data processing activities, data validation activities. Does it have duplicates and a bunch of all that? And so once the data arrives, or once the data hits our storage, it's just going to tell us, look, this is what's about this data and all that. Now, just so you know, this activity can be done using like the UI. You can use your UI to do it, right? But I figured learning to write G-Cloud command is also really a cool stuff to do, right? The only thing we used the UI was when we were creating our buckets, our cloud storage buckets. But we can basically use, and it will just take us like, 1 or 2 minutes, and we're good. So yeah, so that's basically what we have for today. And just to put it in perspective, the core architecture of what we did was use the cloud storage, use Event Arc, which is like which is an event routing service. And so what it does is it's this function exists, but whenever an activity just pops up, there's the event arc will just ensure that the function that whatever activity happens, that the cloud function hears it and just goes on to do the work it has to do. And then there's a cloud function area, which is a serverless compute that enables all these things to happen. So it's like a contractor gets to do his job and all. And then, of course, there's the cloud login service you can see, which is what's over here. There's a cloud login service. It captures everything we're doing. Remember that we were unable to go forth with a lot of stuff because our identity and access management, which is the security guard of the Google Cloud platform, right, needed us to give permission for this to happen. Right, so there are lots of things we can do a lot of. There are many ways. It's a way for you to understand that I wanted us to do a slight departure from doing labs and then go and see what the real deal looks like, right? So again, I'll advise, if you have any questions, this is where you feel free to ask, right? But yeah, this is just about that. I was also going to say that this stuff we did, we can do it in our UI. So which means we can basically navigate to our cloud console, go to cloud function, create our functions, and then find our code logic where we'll find that there's an inline editor and write our code to it, and also write our requirements and all. And once we do that, we'll click deploy and then, verify if all these things work. But again, using this Cloud Shell is a super skill to have. So I'll encourage you to, typically learn how to use that and work with it. Right. So yeah, so that's that. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Now, look, I must recognize that maybe for some of us this might be a lot, but that's just how it is when you're using stuff. You're getting started with stuff. Advice is, try this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll right after watch the session again, right? I might also like all the steps that I use, I'll put it in the document and just share, right? So that you could try it out yourself. I'll also advise that you write down the cloud bash commands yourself, and you would notice that you get used to it. Some of this bash commands, you encountered them when maybe when you're taking one of the labs. You'll be told to write the commands, so that you get used to them. Now, this is a situation where this works, right? So yeah, again, I'm to ask if we don't have any other questions, then we can wrap. I wanted to, yes, go ahead.
This is, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
I'd say for me, this is a lot taken sincerely. Especially with the terminal. I mean, I'm just getting started in Python, and this this looks like. I mean, okay, I've come across the PowerShell and stuff only from the terminal of the laptop, and I was getting familiar with Linux at some point, and this came up as well, and it was very challenging. I just hope I can get around I can get around this.
So Taiwo, it's not a problem, right? Look, at every learning journey, everything almost always looks new. And I think the thing we take for granted the most is the realization that this works. And we don't think we take it for granted because we don't think it's a learning experience. It is what you just realized is, look, the PowerShell can actually be used to do stuff. And I think that's a great thing to find out. I always tell learners in the community that you go from, at every learning journey, you go from an unawareness and unconscious level of a learning curve. You don't know what is going on in this learning journey. And all of a sudden, you become conscious of what you're not aware of. And these are all steps. And it's super okay. Now, one of the things we tend to do is we just get overwhelmed immediately and say, how do I even do all this? No, I generally look at it from this perspective. I think we should see it from a perspective of, all right, now this is here. So how do I pick up this skill? How do I try as much as I can to learn these things that I'm seeing for the first time, right? I think these parts will make it better for you because you're telling yourself, I know I have to learn Python, and sooner or later I would have to learn Python to write code and pick data from my laptop. But in future, will that scale? No. So, which means I have $300 credit that I can use from time to time to say, okay, if I could write code, which is really simple stuff, then I could upload it to a platform like this, and a lot of stuff is done for me. Now, remember, and I know that it's always interesting when we jump on, let's say, if you open Google Gemini and you type all you want to do because it's a chat, it's an assistant. Sometimes you also have to ask yourself, they can do this. They can open Gemini and do stuff. What are the kind of things I can do that not everyone can do, which sort of starts to put you in a level, different from a lot of people, right? So that's what you need to start to think of. And the more it sort of makes it, you start to realize, that you are good at certain things, right? And so I think those are the things that you should feel a lot. You should feel a lot excited about. I generally think these are the things you need to feel excited about, and just know that the future is bright. There's a lot you can learn, and there's a lot you can do. Just keep learning, and you'll get to that point that you'll be good at it. So, Taiwo, it's not even an issue. Just know that just look at it like you've seen the light. Yeah. Any question, guys? I mean, yeah. So, fingers crossed. Yeah. Look, Taiwo, 5 years from now, if you keep up with this, remember what matters is the What matters is the process. If you think about the process more often, you would enjoy it. But if you're always thinking about the outcome, so think about the process. The process is super important. And we are at a time where we have so many tools that help you not so you don't get a lot of context switching. So you're really good at stuff. So you have a lot of AI tools that help you stay in track and don't find yourself going to find a bunch of things. But yeah. Guys, do we have any questions? All right. The absence of any questions. So this is a wrap. This is what we have. So today, what we've done is use Google Cloud services to upload to create a data quality checker using Cloud Function, and at the back end, under a lot of activities were happening from events, event reporting, event routing, cloud build services, building all this, cloud login services, logging all the activities, and also identity and access management, super important for anybody using cloud services, right? And as we proceed, look, next week we're going to do something, really around a lot of these areas so that you get used to them. But I'll always encourage you, jump on the cloud, pick up a skill there. You have, sometimes 45 minutes, 1 hour to test out all this, the labs you have. There are different labs. If you are looking for, say, you want to do a lab, you have a lab like this, you could take a tour of it. You can choose to learn a bunch of things, right? And there's so many things that you can learn to. Oh, look at this. Get started with event art, which is what we just saw right now, right? And you learn how this actually works. So this is a pot of gold, right? You can see you have 1 credit, and this is an event challenge. Given a certain scenario, this you have to build from scratch and learn a few things. So you see a bunch of things. So yeah, so there's a lot. These things are here. You get to learn to work with them, get to learn to build on all the skill sets. And trust me, there's nothing as good as having this skill platform where you have so many labs that you can use to build on what you don't know, what you know, but you have not tested out. This is huge. What I'm going, I'll try as much as possible to what I want to do is also make it easy for us to have access to credits, right? I've been thinking about it. So what would happen in I would encourage us when we sign up for this to also start RSVP on our Cloud platform. So that way I can make a case that learners have to have credit, so you can have access to credits to do a lot of things. So yeah. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining this. I hope this was fruitful. I hope you go forward and learn. Do not get overwhelmed by this. It's not necessary to get overwhelmed. Just remember the process is important and the rest will take care of itself. Right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for today's session. And if you are in session, I've already dropped the link. I'll drop the link. I'll edit this session after it's done in the live stream, and I'll drop all I'll update the descriptions and drop a few comments just to help folks who are doing it for the first time. All right. Okay, guys. You enjoy the rest of your